Israel and Iran are at war. Let me give you the fast facts about this huge news that broke over the weekend. So Israel said it launched Operation Rising Lion to target Iran's nuclear and missile infrastructure. So Israel have basically bombed all the nuclear infrastructure in Iran to try to stop them getting nuclear weapons. Israel's airstrikes on Iran killed top Iranian military leaders and nuclear scientists. This has the hallmarks of Israel using the beepers to take out all the members of Hamas. So Israel basically tippity top intelligence agency. The other main news regarding Iran and Israel's war is that Iran launched its own airstrikes at Tel Aviv and other parts of Israel on Friday, killing at least 13 people. People have been speculating about this war popping off for a long time. There's a clip doing the rounds now on X of Douglas Murray talking about how when Israel finally do take out Iran's nuclear capabilities, everyone's going to complain, but essentially they're doing the world a massive favor. So here is Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu talking about exactly why Israel are doing what they are doing, bruv.
A dual existential threat. One, the threat of Iran rushing to weaponize their enriched uranium to make atomic bombs with a specific and declared intent to destroy us. Second, a rush to increase their ballistic missile arsenal into the capacity that they would have 3,600 weapons a year, new weapons within 3 years, 10,000 ballistic.
That's a big claim. He's saying they're going to have more than 3,000 weapons, ballistics
missiles, each one weighing a ton, coming in at Mach 6, right into our cities, as you saw today. And then in 6 years, 20,000. That's no country can sustain that, and certainly not a country the size of Israel. So we had to act. It was the 12th hour. We did act to save ourselves, but also, I think, to not only protect ourselves, but protect the world from this incendiary regime.
So that is the justification for Israel going to war with Iran. Now, my theory is that this could well be an American proxy war. At least America wanted this to happen. At most, America is actually behind it. So the reason I say this is because it just has all the hallmarks of a genius American military move. Sun Tzu, the guy who wrote The Art of War, everyone knows that book, right? I started reading that recently. And there's so much stuff in Sun Tzu that has a parallel to what's going on between Israel and Iran if America is behind it all, or at least involved. And they just have to be, bro. They just have to be. So Sun Tzu says, the ultimate victory is without ever lifting a finger. You win without fighting, or you get someone else to do it. And that's kind of exactly what is happening here. Sun Tzu said the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. That's exactly what America's doing, in my opinion. Sun Tzu also said to fight and conquer in all your battles is not supreme excellence. Supreme excellence consists in breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting. That's what America is doing. And Sun Tzu said, make use of the enemy's weaknesses and use others to do your fighting. Why should America go in there if Israel can do it for them? So what is my proof that America is behind this? Well, you know, Trump can't help himself. He wants to take credit wherever he can. So Trump gave Iran a 60-day ultimatum to stop their nuclear BS and give it up. And on day 61, past Trump's ultimatum, Trump claimed he gave Iran the 60-day deadline to reach a nuclear deal, implying military consequences if they failed to comply in a Truth Social post. So Trump said 2 months ago, I gave Iran a 60-day ultimatum to make a deal. They should have done it. Today is day 61. That's kind of like Trump saying, because you didn't sign the deal, now you're getting your ass kicked. And we're going to confuse the hell out of you by essentially putting it on Israel, but you're not really sure where the enemy's coming from. This is some real Sun Tzu shit. And I'm pretty sure America are behind this. So Trump also prides himself on being a peaceful president. It's all about legacy, right? He always talks about how he was the most peaceful president for 70 years since Nixon, and it is true. And he used that as a campaign promise if he were to get elected again in 2024. So for Trump now to go and start a war is against everything he has said. And Trump is pretty much a man of his word. Promises made, promises kept, is his mantra and is regularly true. And so this move is even more genius if America is behind it, because if Iran now attack American infrastructure, American embassies, American military, anything like that, because America is allied with Israel, then Trump can say that it's basically nothing to do with him, because this was all started before Trump even got into office. This really came about. The straw that broke the camel's back was October the 7th, the massacre of Israel by Hamas. That happened before Trump was even in office. So if that is still ongoing, Trump can claim that he didn't start this war and it was literally ongoing before he was in office, and he already said that it happened because he wasn't in office. So even if Iran attack America and then that's a pretext for America to get involved in this war, Trump can just say, I didn't start it, bro. It was started before I got into power. So this is just the perfect operation if America is behind it. Trump still looks like the most peaceful president, and we get to take out a regime which, let's be honest, is disgraceful. Have you seen videos of Iran in 1970 before the Islamic authoritarian regime took over? It's like no one's wearing a hijab. It's like really free, really great place. And they've just been under tyranny for so long. They're the number one international sponsor of terror by every single metric. And I'm pretty sure the people want to be free out there. So I think America's behind this. Iran and Israel are finally at war. It's a little bit scary. Iran launched a bunch of drones at Israel, but Israel took most of them out. But the propaganda surrounding this really make it look like it's an American-started war. So I'm seeing things like this on Fox News. You've got this news article with a picture of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that says, Israeli Prime Minister says Trump was marked for death by Iran after tearing up fake agreements. So you're seeing all this justification for Israel going to do what they're doing. And I think it is justified, but you certainly can see how the machine on the Republican side and in the Trump administration is moving towards supporting this war, which is a little bit strange considering Trump said he's so anti-war. And the Fox News articles kind of come across like press releases and justification for an American war. It just has the hallmarks of it. If you want any justification for any theories that say this is a false flag and it's an excuse for America to get involved, here is a news article, a news piece on Fox that says US Embassy in Israel among several buildings damaged in Iran's latest wave of missile attacks. So Iran's missile attacks are rather pathetic, and Israel can intercept a whole lot of them. What are the chances? The few missiles that do get into Israel just so manage to hit the US Embassy, which would be one of the most strongly guarded facilities in the whole country, if not the strongest guarded, because if that gets hit, things really pop off. That, you could argue for a false flag theory that they let this happen as a pretext for America to get involved. We all know the military-industrial complex has been churning for years, decades, bruv. On and on and on. In recent times, you had Iraq, Afghanistan. As soon as Afghanistan ended, the military-industrial complex dovetailed smoothly, nicely, hit the ground running with Ukraine supplying weapons and all that kind of stuff. And now that might be ending. It looks like we got another place for the military-industrial complex to make money. Is it just a coincidence that there's always a war for America to profit off? I do not know whether America started this war or Israel did. But my feeling is, my gut feeling is, this is the right thing to do, and I support this, because Iran with a nuclear weapon is no bueno. We are potentially looking at another North Korea situation. So let me bring you up to date with that. North Korea didn't have to be this way, bruh. It didn't have to be Kim Jong-un ruling the roost. You can't go over there and you can't try to date some hot North Korean birds. It didn't have to be that way. We could have essentially stopped them getting nukes and their people would have been free. Bill Clinton and North Korea. Bill Clinton, he failed big time. In 1994, Bill Clinton, according to Grok, could have struck Yongbyon reactor, could have taken it out, their nuclear reactor that eventually got them a nuclear warhead. Bill Clinton could have stopped North Korea's plutonium program cold, and he could have chosen diplomacy instead. Instead, Bill Clinton gave them money, signed an agreed framework, and apparently reactors were frozen, but North Korea secretly kept enriching uranium. Too long didn't read. North Korea got nukes, and now they're an international threat, and their people are under the boot of the hardest communist regime in the world. Iran constantly talk crazy stuff about eradicating Israel, tiny sliver of Judeo-libertarian culture in the middle of a vast authoritarian sea of hostile Muslim countries. You don't want to have Iran getting a nuke. You don't want to have them swinging their ick day around on the world stage, threatening everyone. At some point it had to happen. I wanted it to happen. I didn't want them to get it because they were going to get it eventually. So I'd like to hear your opinions in the comments. Do you think this war between Iran and Israel is necessary for Israel to defend themselves from a nuke? Do you think Iran would nuke them? I think they would. I absolutely think they would. Israel have crossed the threshold now. There is no going back. If they hold off the pressure from Iran, Iran at some point will obviously get a nuke at some point. This has been in the news for a long time now. They are developing nukes. They're trying to. They do have aspirations for it. And when they do that, especially after this attack, Iran have even more of a pretext to nuke them. So I think the time is now. And I do agree with what Douglas Murray said over 10 years ago in the video you can now see doing the rounds on X, where he predicted when Israel finally do take out Iran's nuclear infrastructure, people will complain, but really they're doing the world a favor. So that's the main news today, is Israel and Iran are at war, and you are going to see the Antifa crew, the communists in America and in Europe, trade their BLM flags and their Palestine flags for Iranian flags. Anything to destabilize the West. Just get prepared for it. Don't analyze it too much. They do it to agitate, and so nihilistic confusion. All they want to do is subvert the West, demoralize you, and try to tear down the strong pillars of Judeo-Christian culture. But we will not let them, Massacre mates, so long as Johnny Massacre's world still exists. If you're just joining us, I'm Johnny Massacre, and you are watching a brand new podcast, Johnny Massacre's World.